What is up? Back again for another great episode. Of course, they're all great of the Too Tall Sports podcast. Happy to have you in today. I got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm going to try to squeeze it all in about 10 minutes just so I can get to my episode, which is with my former teammate with the Pirates organization in the minors. His name is Quincy Latimore. He's still playing professional baseball 15 years later from when he got drafted out of high school. So we'll talk about all the stuff with his story and all the places he's played, like Australia and Mexico and all over the world, and his 15-year pro baseball career, all in the minor league. So this dude's been grinding for a long time, and he's got some good stories, and a lot of the guys we played with, all that stuff. So we'll get to my boy Q in a little bit, but I got to start, of course. I owe you guys this since I said, don't quote me, but I said, I like all the home favorites in the NFL divisional round playoffs last week. So I'll start there. I did end up going 1-3. I did not think 3 underdog road teams would go into home teams' houses and win. But of course, the Bengals did it against a very disappointing Titans team, in my opinion. The Bucks lost. The Rams came in there and had a huge game, and we'll talk about that in a second. And of course, my most disappointing game of the weekend, the Niners beat the Packers at Lambeau. I was not expecting that. That was the biggest shocker of the weekend, in my opinion. I'll start with Tennessee real quick, and I'll get through these real, just so I can get to some other stuff too. Tennessee and Green Bay, we'll just put them together. Both had a week off, which had a bye, and then you're playing a home playoff game against quarterbacks that are, one of them is young and unproven. You could argue Joe Burrow, but he's definitely changing that narrative. And Jimmy G hasn't scored a touchdown in the playoffs yet, and he's 2-0 so far. Explain that one. The dude has been carried by his defense and his running game and his coach, Kyle Shanahan, for the Niners, who is seems to be a genius at this point offensively. How are you getting your quarterback through these games without doing literally anything on offense except for a couple nice throws? This is like Tebow-esque. I hate to bring that name up, but Jimmy G's throwing balls in the dirt and throwing ducks like Peyton Manning did at the end of his career. This was not pretty to watch, but I was shocked. How did the Packers lose at home? And their special teams is the worst in the league, dead last in special teams. And they give up a blocked field goal and a blocked punt for a touchdown. How does that happen in a crucial moment? And LaFleur, or the special teams coach, didn't have 11 guys in the field for the last field goal. May not have mattered. He only had 10 on the field. Just another example of the lack of detail in all three phases, as they like to say in the NFL. It was very, very surprising. I'm a Rodgers guy. I think he's the most talented quarterback I've ever seen. I know there's this young crop of Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert, and Josh Allen coming up. I get that. But to me, Aaron Rodgers is the standard of just talent. I know Brady's the GOAT and he's got the hardware to show for it, but just watching the guy operate, I like Rodgers the best as far as guys to watch. But he was forcing the ball to Davante Adams a lot in this game. And he didn't really seem like he trusted anybody else. Got a little conservative. I know the weather was awful and neither quarterback looked good at all, but the Niners got it done. And now they go on to face a Rams team that came off a huge win. This was the Matt Stafford, this is why we traded for you game. And they almost blew it, right? He overcame 4 turnovers. Cam Akers was fumbling all over the place. Cooper Kupp had a fumble. The snap that went by Stafford's head, everything that could go wrong did for the Rams, but they held it together. McVay held it together, and Stafford made 2 huge throws with 42 seconds left to put their team in position to kick a field goal. They did it, and they're moving on at home against their arch rivals who have beat them 6 times in a row, the Niners. So let me give you, I know I don't have time to get into Kansas City and Buffalo, craziest game ever. Let's all agree that overtime needs to be changed. I'm okay with leaving it in the regular season. You don't want more injuries. You want these guys off the field as quick as possible and ready for the next week. I get that. So when we get to the playoffs, though, we need to let both teams that have earned the right to be there possess the ball at the end of the game and see what happens. I don't care if it's a back and forth shootout. Do not let a team go home that probably should have won the game because of the wrong coin toss call. I don't like that. That was BS to me. And Josh Allen was on fire and unstoppable. The dude put up 36 points. By the way, where's Buffalo's that top-ranked Buffalo defense? Didn't look that top-ranked against Mahomes. I know he's amazing, but God, they were 13 seconds away for Buffalo. I feel for that fan base. That Bills Mafia, man, I feel for you. So anyway, let me give you my picks, and I'll jump onto a couple other things here. I like that at some point the Rams got to break through. At some point they're going to break through. I believe it's this weekend at home. I know you shouldn't go against the trend. So if you don't want to listen to me, don't listen to me. I just think at some point the Rams are going to break through, and it has to be this game, right? This is why you traded Jared Goff away. This is the game, just like last week that Matthew Stafford won. I hate to put it on him again. This is the game you got to win. And how sweet would it be beating the Niners in LA at SoFi, and then the Super Bowl, oh yeah, at SoFi. You get a home Super Bowl game, much like Brady got last year in Tampa. A little easier to win at home when you got the crowd behind you in the biggest two games of the year, back-to-back home games. The Rams have to win this game. They just have to. You got to get over the hump. I know Shanahan and McVay are boys. They led at halftime last time they played at SoFi, 17-3 at the half, I believe. So usually when McVay has the lead at halftime, he doesn't give it up. He's got an incredible record when that happens. So give me the Rams against the Niners at SoFi this weekend. As far as the Bengals and Chiefs, the number I'm seeing right now is 7.5 for the Chiefs. I think the Bengals may cover. However, I think the Chiefs will win the game at home. I know I like home. It's hard to go against home teams that are good in the playoffs. It just is. I know last week happened, but that was insane. I don't think that's going to happen again. The Bengals may cover the 7.5. So it might be a smart bet to take Cincinnati. However, Cincinnati allowed 9 sacks to Burrow last week. So that offensive line is not getting corrected in 1 week. I know Tennessee's front four is tough, but I like Kansas City to win. And maybe, I'm just going to say maybe, Cincinnati will cover. Take the Chiefs to win, though, money line. I think that's a safe bet, right? Most of you would agree with me. Not many of you are going to take the Niners and Cincinnati Bengals to get to the Super Bowl. If you do, props to you. We'll see what happens. A couple notes before I get out of here and we get to the interview, my interview with Quincy Latimore. Sean Payton leaving New Orleans. What a shock that was. That kind of hit the news wire and was like, whoa, really? But then you realize when you lose your franchise quarterback and your team had 4 different starting quarterbacks this year, including Jameis Winston, Trevor Siemian, Taysom Hill, Ian Book, they're all not Drew Brees, and they're way over the cap. The whole Michael Thomas, the receiver debacle that's going on there with injuries and him not coming. There's a lot of stuff going on in New Orleans. I think he needs a break. Sean Payton does, the coach. He may go into broadcasting. He may find himself in Dallas sooner than later. He did coach there before as an assistant, I believe, during the Bill Parcells era in Dallas. Wouldn't shock me if they moved off Mike McCarthy and brought in one of the best coaches in the league in Sean Payton. He went 152-89 overall for New Orleans, won that Super Bowl with Breeze back in the 09 season, I think 2010 Super Bowl. But 15 years in one spot is a long time. So I think it seems like he went through a lot of stuff this year, health-wise as well. I think Sean Payton may take a year off and then get back to coaching in the following season. So he's still fairly young. I think he's under 60. So we'll see if Sean Payton comes back. Tom Brady's future, who knows? The guy's going to be 45 coming up here pretty soon. So every year in your mid-40s, when you're doing unprecedented things, as Brady has been doing, every year could be the end. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. Also, David Ortiz would go to Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Gets in on the first ballot. He's a 3-time World Series champion. I get that. I don't have all the numbers in front of me for Ortiz. He was a designated hitter his whole career, right? So he never technically played defense as a position player. All he did is hit. Was one of the best hitters of all time. No question there. One of the most feared left-handed hitters. He's beloved in Boston. Look, when you're good to the media, you're going to find out that they'll help you get into the Hall of Fame if you're one of those guys. Bonds and Clemens both missed. And you guys know me. I played professional baseball and I was not a cheater and I am anti-cheaters. However, if you're going to let David Ortiz in, who was on the infamous Mitchell report, which was basically in 2003, a list of guys that tested positive, but I don't know what really happened with that list, but there were a lot of guys like David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, and others, Bonds, Clemens, Andy Pettit on that list. And we're going to let David Ortiz in the Hall of Fame on his first ballot, and Bonds and Clemens can't buy one, 10 years in, however long it's been for them. I'm not a fan of that. Barry Bonds arguably is the best player of all time. And if you guys remember, if you listen to my Rob Parker episode a few episodes back, he's the Fox Sports radio guy. He's been on TV his whole, long time career in radio and broadcasting, Rob Parker. He was saying that he votes for the steroid guys that deserve to be in because it's not his job as a baseball writer to determine the moral code of who we like and don't like. And we should focus on the field only, not on who they are as people. That's the Curt Schilling argument. That's the Pete Rose argument. I know he gambled on baseball, but over 4,000 hits and you're not in the Hall of Fame. It's really hard to separate when you're a journalist and you're asking questions and a guy is a dick to you, like Barry Bonds has been known to be. It's hard to vote for somebody that you don't like. And that is the issue with Hall of Fames in general, is these gatekeepers deciding who they like and don't like. If you remember, Terrell Owens, T.O. in the NFL, didn't get in first ballot, and he was a no doubt Hall of Famer in the first ballot, but he gets in the next year because he was, quote unquote, a bad guy. I got a huge problem with writers being the gatekeepers of the Hall of Fame just because they don't like you. So anyway, a lot of stuff happening, interesting stuff. I know I bounced around a lot there, but I want to get to my interview and keep it tight on this Too Tall Sports podcast. So anyway, check out my interview with Quincy Latimore coming up next. Thanks for being here. As always, glad to have you guys in this 2022 season. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like, share, rate, review, whatever you got to do to help the show, do it. And follow me on all the channels, Too Tall Sports Podcast. And here's my interview with my buddy, Quincy Latimore. We are back on the Too Tall Sports Podcast. Glad to have you in today. My interview is going to be with Quincy Latimore. He's a former teammate of mine in the Pirates organization during our time in the minors. We both played together in West Virginia, so we'll talk about that a little bit, the guys we played with and guys we played against, all that stuff. Quincy's played for a very long time. He's going on 15 years of professional baseball without making it to the big leagues. So pretty impressive to play in that many places around the world, like Australia, Mexico, Colombia. He's been everywhere. And we get his story and what it's like as a high school draft pick out of North Carolina and his climb through the minor leagues. And the fact that he's still playing baseball is pretty insane. So we have some good back and forth and good stories from this episode. I think you guys will really enjoy Quincy's story. As always, you can follow me at Too Tall Sports Podcast. That's on Instagram. On Twitter, it's at Too Tall Sports. You can follow my YouTube channel. Type in Too Tall Sports Podcast. Check me out there. Would love you to subscribe, like, share, write a comment, anything to boost the show. I'd really appreciate it. And hit the bell notification. We drop episodes every morning on Thursday. Not every morning, every Thursday morning at 5 a.m. Pacific time. So you can watch the interviews here, there. If you want to listen to the episodes, we're on Apple, we're on Spotify. You can do 5-star ratings on both of those now. So I'd really appreciate it if you hit the 5-star on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Just type in Too Tall Sports Podcast. You'll find all of my episodes there. We're on season 3 now, believe it or not, over 80 episodes. So lots of stuff for you to choose from if you go there. If you could, on Apple especially, not only 5-star, but if you could subscribe and write a review on the bottom if you have time to do so, that'd be awesome. Really helps out the show. We're also on Amazon Music, Google Play, Pandora, wherever you get your podcasts, we're probably there. Just type in Too Tall Sports Podcast. And with that, I'm also blowing up on TikTok, by the way, at Too Tall Sports Podcast. Check me out for all you youngins out there. I'm one of the older guys on TikTok, but it's coming along. So I got some good videos out there about guys I used to play against in the minors and all that stuff. So anyway, check me out, Too Tall Sports Podcast, and let's get to my interview with Quincy Latimore. All right, welcome back to the Too Tall Sports Podcast. My next guest is a longtime professional baseball player. He was a teammate of mine for a few years in the minors during our time with the Pirates organization. He's played just about everywhere possible in the world, and he's here to tell us his story of his career. He is Quincy Latimore. What's going on, Q?
Man, not too much, man. I think it's crazy you call it Too Tall Sports. I was like, hey, I gave you that name back in the day. I got to take some credit for that.
You definitely do. You're the only person. So I do have a few nicknames, which like the building and other names, but you're the only person that calls me Tall Man. So yeah, there you go. You came up with that.
Oh, man. Yeah.
No, it's been a while, and glad to reconnect with you and get you on my podcast and everything and get your story. And you've been, like I mentioned, a lot of places. So right off the top, before we get to your background, I kind of wanted to ask you about your current situation right now. Baseball's a tough business, especially when it comes to, bouncing around to different teams and stuff like that. what do you think your ideal situation would be playing this year?
This year, if I don't play, I would like to go back to Mexico and play down in the LMB. LMP is the Winter League, I think. And if that doesn't happen, then I will play in the Atlantic League. I'll play indie ball in the Atlantic League. I'm fortunate enough we have a team in North Carolina where I live, and so it's pretty good setup. It's about an hour and a half away from where I live. I'll live there during the season though. That's still too far to commute. But I mean, it's 140 game schedule. Good competition. A lot of guys I played against, through the minor leagues and even in Mexico and places. And I mean, really, man, at this point, they signed so many guys last year out of the Atlantic League. I mean, anything can happen. I'm playing now really because I still love playing, and I'm still pretty good at it, and I'm not ready to quite hang it up. But
Sure.
if I was to get signed again, it'd be great, man. If not, oh well. Like I said, I still love playing, and that's about where I'm at right now.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
man. And, yeah, I played in the Atlantic League also in Long Island, so I know all about that league. And they've had some different teams and turnover, but there's a lot of good players that are still playing independent ball that there's just not enough room for them anymore. So totally get that. As far as your background a little bit, you mentioned you're from North Carolina. So as far as like the kind of player you were when you were growing up in high school and all that stuff, when did you know that you were like pretty legit and you had a chance to get drafted?
I would say going into my senior year, junior year, I mean, I got a lot of college letters and stuff and offers. And then I went to what's on the East Coast called the East Coast Pro Showcase. And I think it's the equivalent of the area code games out in California.
Okay.
And once I went out to that, I started getting a lot of the pro letters rolling in and people coming into my home and, doing the questionnaires and all that stuff. And I was like, well, hey, this may be a possibility here. And going into the senior year, I mean, I would have different teams that come and have me do like a special batting practice before the game and things like that. And so then, it really started becoming more like, hey, this really might happen. And then the closer it got to the draft, I was like, hey, I think I'm going to get drafted. Now, where, I'm not sure, but I definitely think I'm going to get drafted. And lucky enough, and I got drafted in the 4th round. I was the first high school player the Pirates took that year. And so I signed and started that journey, man. So it's crazy. It was 15 years ago.
Man,
2007.
I was going to say, and we were planning it, and I'll get to that in a minute when I met you for the first time, but you were young when I met you. So you've been playing for a long time, but you're still only 32 years old?
Yeah.
You're still fairly young.
30, yeah, I'll be 33 next month. When we played together, 32 really wasn't that old. But now, man, I'm ancient in baseball now.
Yeah.
The way baseball is now. There was, plenty of guys that were, in their early 30s with jobs whenever we played together. But
right.
That's if you're not in the big leagues now, it's pretty tough to have a job in your early 30s now.
Yeah.
Everything's just shifted to be so young now.
I know it's crazy, man. I know we used to have like veterans on our team, like guys that have been around.
Absolutely. None of those anymore. Veterans is the guy who has played for 5 years, 6 years, haven't even made it to free agency yet. That's the veteran. That's the old guy.
Right.
There are no old guys.
Yeah. It's crazy. I think I saw on that Perfect Game website or when I was looking up your stuff that did you commit to NC State at one point?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Yeah, that's where I was going to go. Yeah, that's where I signed my letter of intent and all that stuff. That's, right here at home. Like I said, I felt like that was the best choice for me at the time. And I got along with the coaching staff and a few of guys that I played with in the summer at that time. They were going to go there too. So I thought it was a good fit. Yeah.
And how close were you to going to college?
You know what, man? Once, I told everyone if I got drafted in the first 5 rounds, then I was going to go pro. My goal in baseball was to try to make it to the big leagues. And I thought the earlier I could start that, the better, because you can go to school anytime. Playing college baseball wasn't necessarily like the dream, the goal. So I had the chance to start my dream and go out of high school. So that was Man, it never was any like decision making. If I got drafted first 5 rounds, I was gonna sign. So
Yeah,
that's what happened.
for sure. And speaking of getting drafted, I wanted to ask you about draft day. It was the '07 draft. You went in the 4th round, like you mentioned. What was draft day like for you, or what was it like leading up? I mean, did you even know the Pirates were on the radar? You know, who was talking to you, all that stuff?
Yeah, I had a good feeling that either the Pirates, the White Sox, or the Orioles would be one of the 3 teams. Though I mean, they followed me very, very strong that last month going into the draft. I went to like individual like workouts for like cross checkers, scouting directors, and all of those guys for each of those teams and stuff. Yeah. So they were very, very interested. So I really thought it would be, one of those 3, and it ended up being the Pirates.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And then whenever I have a high school draft pick on, I always like to ask, because, it's not like you're going to college. You're 18, 19 years old. You're starting in the minor leagues with dudes from Latin America, guys that are out of college or have families now. So as a high school player getting drafted, first time on your own away from home, what was it like for you?
It was definitely different, man. You are responsible for your decisions, your actions, everything you do. Like mom and dad is not there anymore. It was definitely an eye opener. It's like, I am an adult now. Like I have to be. So it was kind of, it was cool, but at the same time, it was like, dang, like I gotta take care of everything now. I gotta do everything now. And you mentioned the Latin players, and being around different people. I mean, it was definitely different, man. I remember that first practice. I showed up and I was looking around and I was like, oh man, I ain't never played with this many brothers. Like, only to find out, they were Dominican or Venezuelan. And I was like, oh dang, like, but that was my first thing. Like, oh man, look at all these brothers. It's
crazy. You go to them like, what's up, man? How you doing? They're like, ¿Cómo estás, man?
Yeah, que lo que.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. No, and even as a college guy for me, like I'd never played with guys from Latin America before, like Dominican, Venezuela. I didn't know who these guys were. So there's did you feel that when you got to the minors, like, damn, there's a lot of good players here also? Or did you sense that?
Absolutely. I remember like one of the first talks we had, the manager saying, everybody here is the big fish from where they're from. All right. Now we're here to see who's going to be the big fish out of all of y'all. Then guess what? You got to go to low A and try to be the big fish, and then high and up and up and up. And, you play with guys and you see their tools and what they do well, what they don't. And, you know what you do well and what you don't. And, as you start playing games, you see like, oh man, this guy's a natural, or, he needs to do this and that. And you think that same thing, with yourself. I always knew that, there were some things that I did better than some guys, and there were some things that some guys did better than me. And luckily, driving the ball is always something I was able to do well. And I think that's really what kept me around for a long time. I hit doubles, I hit home runs, and I drove runners in, and that's something I took pride in. And I kind of felt like I started doing that from rookie ball on. I think I led my team in doubles in rookie ball. Like, don't quote me on that, but I feel like I did. And then that's something that I was like, you know what, I want to try to do this every year. And it's something that I tried to do every year. And I didn't do it every year, but I did it a handful of seasons where, in those main, like middle of the lineup categories, RBIs, home runs, doubles, and stuff like that, where I led the team in one, if not multiple of those categories from time to time. It's just something that, I pride myself in doing, and I just tried to make it happen, if I could,
Yeah, definitely. I did want to ask you about, so when we were both at the Pirates, in spring training, there's this place in Bradenton, Florida called Pirate City, which is basically dorm rooms for all the guys that can't live away from the quote unquote campus or whatever, or extended spring, rookie ball, all those things. So instead of living offsite, we had to all stay in this dorm situation. What do you remember about Pirate City?
Man, I remember everything about Pirate City. I actually opened Pirate City. My first year of rookie ball, we were still at a hotel. Okay. Pirate City was, they had tore down the old Pirate City and they were rebuilding it. So I'm actually one of the first group of players to open up Pirate City. Now it was nice. The idea of it is nice. I mean, it's convenient.
Yeah.
It's right there. Do I think the rules were a little too strict? Yes, because at the end of the day, we're grown men and it's our career. And if you decide to be up late knowing you got to get up early in the morning, then that should be on you. The curfew and some of those things, it was a bit much from time to time, especially as I got older. I understood being under 21. I understood that was fine. But for some of those guys to be married and have kids and stuff, and just being like shackled down like that, I just used to scratch my head. And then as I became one of the older guys, I mean, I didn't have any kids, but still I would just think, man, like, I can't believe I gotta go back now. It's 10:30. I gotta get ready to head back. But I had good times at Pirate City though, man. I used to love shooting pool, playing ping pong in there and stuff. So there's definitely some good memories there, but I definitely have some not so good memories there also from missing curfew a time or two. but that's just, it's part of it, man. It's part of growing up. It's part of that whole process of finding out, who you are as a player and who you are, as a young man growing up in the game,
Right. And, it definitely was convenient. I think that's the right word. We had our cafeteria there. We got to eat our meals there. Like, there was a lot, the weight rooms there. Everything was very convenient and close. But I just remember the excessive amount of meetings we used to have where it's just like, oh, we got to go back downstairs for another meeting. It's just like,
yes.
Why are we doing this?
Yes. Yeah. Some of those meetings, had, in my mind, nothing to do with being a good baseball player.
Right.
And
didn't you get the sense, like, you've been in other organizations now. I was going to ask you, like, I got the sense, and I was at the Pirates, that you felt very far away from the big leagues. Like, they made you feel like a minor leaguer versus other teams. You can kind of get the big league feel a little bit.
Yes, I agree. Any opportunity they had to let us know we were in the minor leagues, they let us know. Everything was always so separate. Everything was always, I mean, they definitely did that. You're right about that, 100%.
Yeah.
And then, I would hear other guys, my other friends and organizations talking about the things that they did and stuff and talked about. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I wish we did that. And then actually going to a different organization, I got to see, the differences in how things are ran from a different standpoint. I am grateful for my time with the Pirates, though.
Sure.
I had some good managers there, some good coaches there. Tom Prince was my first manager, and I'm not sure where he is right now. I know he was a bench coach in the big leagues a little bit with the Pirates, and I don't know if he's still there or not, but he really taught me how to play the game the right way. He would get on me. I mean, it would be games where I thought I had a good game, and he would find something to get on me about. And I just used to be like, man, this guy must hate me. Like, and, he told me one day, like, you know what, Laddie? Like, that's what he used to call me, Laddie. You know what, Laddie? Whenever I don't talk to you or I'm not getting on you, that's when you need to worry. And, I thought about that. I think about that a lot, to this day. Like, he really always believed in what I could do and what I could be as a player, and always pushed me to be the best. Like if I could see Tom Prince, I would love to tell him thank you. Like I said, I told him, I ended up running into him like 2015 when I was playing in Bowie. He was managing Altoona, and I got to see him. But that's the last time I saw him. And we actually beat them in the playoffs and went on to win the league. And I definitely put some exclamation points on Altoona that season.
Of course.
Yeah, I sure did, man. Yeah. But yeah, I'm definitely grateful for my time with the Pirates. They gave me my start and taught me how to play the game the right way. I will say, when we did do baseball stuff, I mean, I do think that, when we did it, it was put in a way for everyone to learn it. They definitely took their time, and like some of the things that I teach the kids that I work with and coach now, I teach it the way that I was taught with the Pirates.
Very fundamentally sound.
Yes, very,
Pirates.
very.
I wanted to talk about when you and I played in West Virginia. So I got traded from Seattle over to Pittsburgh in a like a huge minor league, big league deal, I guess. And one of the team I went to was in 2009 was the West Virginia Power. That's when you and I met. And we got to play with some future big leaguers like Starling Marte and Robbie Grossman. So what do you remember about that year playing with those guys, or just in general in West Virginia?
So I tell the story about Starling all the time because he didn't start the season with us. He came midway through the year. I think he was actually playing Dominican Summer League, and they were just like, this guy is incredible. And he just and came straight to low A, and he was incredible.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough. I played with Starling in low A and high A and double A. And, I tell Starling Marte stories all the time. He always knew he was good. He knew he was going to be a big leaguer, and he just didn't. He have a bad game. He didn't care. He said, it's okay. I give 3 for 4 tomorrow. And he would go 3 for 4 or 4 for 4. I mean, it really was incredible the things he could do, man. I mean, throwing guys out all the time, running a mile to go catch a ball in the gap. I mean, you never knew. Like, watching him play, you always knew something special could happen when he came up to the plate, or if a ball was hit his way, or something like that, man. And Robbie, I played with Robbie also, low A, high A, and my second year of double A, my first year of double A, he repeated high A again.
Yeah.
So I still played with him 3 years, and actually just reconnected with Robbie about 2-3 weeks ago, man.
Dude, he's still playing in the big leagues.
Yep, he is, man. I told him, I said, man, you got 10 years now. He's like, not quite, but I'm getting close, man. So hopefully I will. I said, man, I'm proud of you, dude. Like, Robbie always had a great feel in the box for, strike zone, ball strikes. He thought if he took it, it was a ball. And that kind of got him in trouble some, early on in the minor leagues. But, now, he's in the big leagues. And, I mean, that's one thing people always talk about, how he takes in at bat. He has a professional at bat all the time. And that's something that, I mean, he's always done. And being a switch hitter, having power from both sides of the plate, his power is showing more now than it did, early on. I mean, I want to say he hit 20 plus homers this year with Detroit. And I want to say possibly won a Silver Slugger or
maybe
something. I think I saw. I want to say Silver Slugger. I think I'm not sure, but he won some award this year. He had a really good season, man. So it's I've actually I played with some really good guys, like you said. I played with Brock Hope. I played with Garrett Cole. I played with some guys that have went on to have some pretty good big league careers, man.
Yeah. I can speak to Grossman because I was with him in 2011 in high A, and I think he had like 100 walks, 100 hits, maybe 100 RBIs. He had a crazy season.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. His approach to the plate was pretty good.
Yep, it was, man. Yep.
Since we're talking about West Virginia, I did, of course, have to ask you about your memories of the Toast Man when we were playing there. So this is like the super fan. For those that don't know, I've talked about him before on my show. But I actually had Bull on. If you remember the announcer that we
So
I had Bull on. He's still announcing games in Erie, the Erie Crushers.
All right.
Indie
Lake
ball.
Erie. Yeah, that's in the Frontier League. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he had some good stories about Toast Man. But what do you remember about the Toast Man?
Well, you know what, man? Rod Blackstone is his name.
Yeah.
And me and Rod we've been friends since 2009.
Wow.
He continued. He's a lifelong Pirates fan. So when I was in Altoona, he would always pick a few games throughout the year to come. He'd always go to spring training every year with the Pirates. And then even once I was traded away, he would find a way to see me play a game, somewhere throughout the season. So I actually never really lost contact with Rod. And this year, West Virginia actually was one of the teams that got kind of kicked out of minor leagues.
Yeah, they lost their team.
And so they joined the Atlantic League. So I actually played against West Virginia this year, and I got to see the Toast Man. Yeah, and man, it really it was almost surreal, going back there. I hadn't been there in 12 years or something. It seemed like maybe not 12. Yeah, maybe 12 years. 2009. Yeah. And I mean, I didn't really remember the clubhouse layout and stuff, but the field and stuff, I mean, it looked the exact same, man. It was crazy. The town itself, it looked the exact same. Like, I mean, of course, there was some new, like the downtown area was actually, I don't remember it being as nice as it was. I mean, there's some really nice restaurants down there now, some breweries and, little pizza places and sports bars and stuff. Because when we played there, I felt like there was absolutely nothing to do.
That town was dead when we played there.
When we played there, I felt like it was absolutely nothing to do. But like now, it really wasn't that bad, man. Maybe because I'm older now, I don't know. But like it was definitely the Charleston experience now was definitely better than it was 12 years ago. That's for sure.
Okay, well that's good to hear.
But he's still throwing toast.
Is he still heckling? Still heckling dudes?
He had the first game I played there. I didn't strike out. So I was like, yeah, you didn't get to toast me. He said, that's fine. It's gonna happen. I said, it's gonna happen because hey, I'm swinging. So it finally, and he said, oh, this is gonna hurt me. Oh, this is gonna hurt me. What? You are. So I mean, he's still doing it, man. Still coming up with stats from when you were 20 years old. Did you know that back in, it's funny, man. He's still putting on a show.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
That's funny to hear that, man. The following season, you played in Bradenton, I think it was 2010, and I think you hit the first home run in Marauders history. Is that right?
I did. My first step back this season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Off of longtime big leaguer Kyle Gibson.
There you go. Dude,
yeah.
One thing you could do is hit bombs. That's for sure. I did want to ask you about that. I think that offseason in winter ball, you started your international playing career. You went to Australia and played for Adelaide. Tell us about that experience playing baseball in Australia. Probably something different than you experienced before.
Yeah, man. It was my first time going out of the country for one. And, I tell people this all the time. They say, oh, man, you ever been out of the country? I was like, yeah, you know what? My first time going out of the country, I went probably as far away as you can go.
Yeah.
And they're like, where? And I'm like, Australia. And they're like, really? You've been to Australia? And I was like, I've actually been 3 times now because I end up going back, later on. But it was a great time, man. We had a really good team. I actually played with some Seattle guys because the one of the guys down there, I think he scouted with them. He was the GM of the team at the time. And so I played that first year. I played with James McOwen and let me see who else was there. Brandon Maurer. He has had a pretty good big league career. And Brandon Bantz, he was a catcher. He made it to the big leagues a little bit. I don't remember with who. And I want to say that was it that first year. And then the Pirate guys were, let me see, myself. Who else came with me out there? I can't remember. But we had a really good team. We actually ended up losing in what they call the grand final. We won game 1. It's a 3-game series. We won game 1. Blew game 2, and then they beat the crap out of us in game 3. And but it was a great season, man. It was a great time. That was the first time that I was away from Pirates. Like, I could be my own person, get ready how I wanted to, play the game, and just have fun playing the game and not being so worried about who's watching me, and that's, I started to become myself more going out there. And then I became a fan of winter ball after that. Then I couldn't wait to do it again. But I would actually go back 2 years later to Australia. And I didn't get my first taste of like real winter ball, Latin winter ball until 2014. I went down and played in Colombia. And that was an eye-opener because, it was Latin baseball, like super like crazy fans. Like I enjoyed my time there. I ended up getting hurt, so I had to leave early. But that was my first taste of like Latin winter ball.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about that too. Like if you had any stories that, a lot of Americans go down to play Mexico or they'll go play Venezuela or for you, Colombia. And you've been a lot of places. Do you have any like fun stories that you remember?
I mean, I played most of my winter ball in Mexico. I've played for 3 different teams there. And like, three or five different seasons there. And I love like Mexican baseball, man. The fans are great. I mean, it's good baseball. I mean, you look at some of the rosters and, they're former big leaguers on like every team. And it's just a high quality level of baseball. And, every game is important. There's no prospects, it's, hey, let's go out and win the game. Like, pitchers are out there. I mean, they want to win. It's not, I need to work on this because they told me I need to throw this today, or I need to, I'm going to throw what I need to throw to win. And it's just, I mean, the love of the game they have down there, man, it changes how you feel about the game some. I mean, it really does. I mean, you want to win just as bad as they do. I mean, they let you know when you're doing good, the fans, they let you know when you're doing bad. Like, and I love it, man. I mean, now they'll get on you some, but they always believe in you. They're pushing you. I mean, they love their team wherever, whatever the team may be. Like they're behind that team all the way. I mean, the support you get it's crazy. It's so much different than playing in a minor league team because most people go to games as a social event, drink a couple beers, talk, but like they're not watching the game. These guys are watching the game. Like they're every pitch, every inning, everything. Like they're in it to win it, just like we are. And it's just something that you have to experience. Did you ever play any winter ball anywhere?
I didn't play winter ball, but I was gonna like kind of ask you about that point. Like I did play independent ball, so you can just tell like everybody that I talk to that gets away from affiliated baseball, it's just a different feeling, whether it's more relaxed, like you were saying in Australia, or you're playing for something bigger than moving up and moving down. It's more about the team or the country or whatever. So that's kind of what I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You have played some AA baseball. Did you play AAA at all?
I went to AAA in the playoffs one year when I was
got it
with the Nationals, but that was it. I don't have any AAA at bats. Out of, I think I have 6-7 years in AA, I believe.
Yeah. You played a lot of AA baseball, man.
Yeah, I played probably about every team in the Eastern League almost.
And I was going to ask you about the difference because I like to ask guys the separator, whether it's from low A to high A to AA, and even that and beyond. What do you think the difference is for guys that have success at the AA level, where everybody at that point's got a chance to get to the big leagues?
Man, at that point, they always say you're a call away when you're in AA. That's what they always say. And I've seen it happen to some teammates of mine. I've seen it happen to guys that, played against them last night. The next day he's in the big league. So, it can definitely happen. I would say at that point, especially if you've repeated it, about who you are as a player, as a man, as a person. Now you're not getting those 0-0 fastballs right down the middle, those 2-0 fastballs right down the middle, your 3-1s and 3-0s. Like you're not getting any of that stuff that you would get still in high A and definitely in low A.
Right.
You got guys who know how to pitch now. And that first year of AA, I was very overmatched my first half of the season. I turned it around the second half of the season, but that first half of the season was, I mean, dude, I had never felt that way playing baseball in my life. I felt like if I fouled off the pitch I should have hit, then I was done. And that's really how I felt. And I tell kids that I work with that, that was the first time that I had the, maybe this is it. Like,
dude, I had the same situation, honestly, as a pitcher. That was the first time where I felt overmatched too. I was like, I can't get anybody out at this level. Like I had to repeat also. And I was just like, this is a different level of, they're not swinging at as much stuff anymore. They're, they have an approach now. Like it's definitely tougher. And these guys have a plan when they go to the plate. So to your point, it's different level.
It is. And, in my last, say 4 years of playing, like the composure I'd say that I have at the plate now, like, I really wish I had it, 6-7 years ago. It took a while to realize, like, as long as I'm ready to hit the one I want to hit, like the rest, it doesn't matter. And, I'm just up there now, like, come on, give it to me. No. And for years, I never had that feeling, although I had some really good seasons at sometimes, it was just
You've
a
never
lot
been
of
that
time.
comfortable.
Yeah, a lot of times it was just, my talent was able just to take over. My ability was able to take over. But now, I mean, I have no problem taking a walk. I mean, hey, whatever. I'll go to first. Like where at one point, I mean, you could almost tell me you're gonna throw me 4 balls and I still would swing. Like I wanted to hit so bad. Like I did not take the game like how it would come to me. I wanted to make it happen. I wanted to, instead of just take what was given to me. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. I didn't notice you're wearing glasses. I don't think you used to wear glasses back in the
I
day.
always wore contacts.
Okay.
I started wearing glasses. Well, like prescription glasses to
Yeah.
play in 2017 when I went out and played with the Dodgers. I went to Tulsa and a teammate of mine, World Series champion Matt Beatty.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he had these exact frames on, and I was like, man, how do you like those? He said, dude, I have struggled with contacts with the wind blowing and blinking. And I was like, dude, me too. He's like, man, you need to try to get you some. And so what I did first before I spent the money on Oakley's, I went just to a local eye doctor and saw what kind of sports frames they had. And they had something that kind of looked like Oakley's. And I tried that out first. Loved it. So when I was with the Dodgers, we were not very far from one of the Oakley like vaults, and we got like 60% off. So I went there, I got these, I got some sunglasses, and now I just have to replace the lenses like every 3 years or so. But if I can play and wear my frames, I wear them. I prefer them over contacts any day.
Interesting.
Sometimes I have to keep contacts with me because like when it start getting cool and I'm sweating, then you get the fog and stuff. So then I just have to pop them in and play. But I love it, man. I wish I could play. I could go back and play my whole career with them. Like, I mean, I feel like I even see better, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's crazy. I know it sucks. All the good, like your approach at the plate. Now you got your glasses, like all the stuff you got now would have been nice to have back then.
Now I'm old.
I wanted to ask you about getting traded. So, Pittsburgh was a team that drafted you. You were with them for a while. You were only 24 years old at the time, but they traded you to Cleveland. Were you excited about that trade as a new opportunity, or did you view it differently, like the Pirates gave up on you?
I looked at it as a new opportunity. The Pirates had a lot of guys, a lot of talent. They had some guys coming behind me that were pretty good also. So I took it as a new opportunity. Someone else liked that I did something good, and they thought maybe I could help them. So I definitely was excited about it. I got to go to Arizona spring training.
There
I
you
got
go.
to do something different. So it was definitely an exciting time. I was in Australia when I got traded. On the plane, just landed, sleep, and a guy in front of me turns around, taps me, and says, "Hey man, I just looked on my phone. You just got traded." And I'm like, "Dude, shut up!" Like, and he's like, "No, really, look." He shows me the phone. I'm like, "Oh crap! Like, I really did." So, we get off the plane, get the Wi-Fi, and then I check my email and stuff, and lo and behold, I have some emails from Carter Hawkins, who I want to say is the GM of possibly not the Cubs now. Is it the Cubs?
I don't know. I don't know that name.
Yeah, well, he
Yeah.
was the assistant with the Indians at the time, but now
Okay.
he is a GM. He's a GM for somebody now. But yeah, man. I was excited about it. I didn't feel bad about it. There were no hard feelings, and I don't know if you know this or not, but I actually ended up signing back with the Pirates. I went to spring training with the Pirates again after that season.
Oh.
After that, because I got released by the Indians at the end of July. Something that I never quite understood. You traded for me and didn't even give me a full season to play. Like,
Yeah.
never really understood it. But it is what it is, man.
Yeah. So you went back with the Pirates. Then what happened?
I got released the last day of spring training.
That's the worst.
Yeah, last day of spring training there, and I actually signed with Long Island, and went up to Long Island, and we had our first workout day, and then the Nationals called me, and opening night was the day before, so I only missed one game, and I went and played in Harrisburg that whole season with the Nationals in 2014. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I saw you started to bounce around a little bit. Dodgers, Baltimore, Detroit, all these different teams, and also Mexico in the off seasons. How did you mentally like stay with playing baseball when you had been on so many teams at that point? What kind of kept you going?
Man, like one, loving baseball. I mean, I love playing baseball, man. It may sound cliche, but like it really is what it is. Like, I mean, I love the game. I love, what it's done for me, the places it's taken me. And there's no better feeling than going out there getting them better on the pitcher that's on that mound. I mean, it's especially taking them deep or getting that 2-out. He think he's out of the inning, and you get that big 2-out knock, and just certain things like that, man, that just it kept me like wanting more, wanting to do more. And I these last few years, and I've been able to come up on some personal milestones. 2019, I hit my 200th career home run. And I was pretty excited about that, man. I was like, man, this is pretty cool. 2017 with the Dodgers, I got my 1,000th hit. And hopefully, God willing, I play this season, I'll get a few RBIs and I'll have 1,000 RBIs. So it's been pretty cool, man. Regardless if it hadn't been in the big leagues or not,
Sure.
I've been very fortunate to play baseball for this will be my 14th, 15th season, something like that. So that's what's kept me going, man. Just the love of the game and personally wanting to go out and try to be better each year. Even as I age and, still, finding something to improve on or to make better or to still try to stand out when I go out there, not just to be somebody, but to be somebody who they still want to come and watch.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of people that can come and watch you, you did mention you play for the High Point Rockers, which is, from in your home state of North Carolina. What's it like for you playing back at home after all these years? And there's a team that you can play for at home.
It was great. My parents were always able to at least come and see me play a couple times, throughout the season. I've played. I think the closest we would always play was in the Eastern League. Richmond, the Richmond Flying Squirrels, and that's about 3.5 hours from us, and that would be the closest. And I've played in Pennsylvania a bunch, West Virginia, Florida, so always away. So to play this close, my dad loves it, man. He comes 2-3 times a week sometimes, especially in the summertime. But it was definitely great, man. And if I need to run home for something, I can run home.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been cool. And now there's actually another team here too. So in Gastonia in the league. So that's another place that they can come and watch us play if we're not at home. But it's been a great place. It was brand new. So that was cool. Opened up a brand new place. Made the playoffs as a first-year team. So we did some special things with that group. We actually got a few guys signed and had a guy make it back to the big leagues from our team. So
wow,
it's been a special thing we have there in High Point, man. And like I said, if I don't go to Mexico this year, that's where I'll be. And I look forward to it, man. It's a special group of guys. Like I said, we had maybe 4 or 5 from the original team to play last year, and I think the same 4 or 5 are going to play this year too. So like we're like the original 4 or 5, the original Rockers.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Other than that place, this is the last question before I get to a little rapid fire with you. Outside of playing in High Point, where is your favorite place to play over your last 15 years?
I played in Cancun in Mexico, Quintana Roo. That was perfect. It was great. Beach right there. Everything was good about it, man. The stadium, fans, and just being at a vacation place, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can't beat it. Couldn't beat it. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. Glad to hear that. Let me get some rapid fire ones, just some quick hitters before we leave.
Okay.
Who's your favorite baseball player of all time?
Barry Bonds.
That's not a bad one. Favorite city in the U.S. to play in?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
All right. Interesting.
Great stadium downtown.
Yeah. No, for sure. What type of food can you not live without?
Seafood.
Okay. Gotcha. What's the most superstitious or important ritual you have before a game?
I really won't say before a game, but before every at bat, I like tap across on the home plate every at bat. Like I don't think I've ever forgotten it, and I've done that since I was about 10 years old, probably.
Damn. Okay. That's a
Yeah.
good tradition. Last one. Best advice you've ever gotten or favorite kind of mindset quote or mantra that you've heard or lived by?
When you go out and take that field, go out there and be the best player every night, whether it's for hitting a home run, catching a ball, stealing a base. Whenever they go home, like you want them to say, "Man, that Quincy Latimore is special." Like that's what Tom Prince told me when I was in rookie ball. Like that's what my goal should be every night when I go out there and take that field. So that's what I say.
I like it, man. That's awesome. And where can everybody follow you if they want to follow your 15th year in baseball?
I am on Instagram. I think it's at 2QLat2. And Twitter. I think that's actually my Twitter at 2QLat2. And on Instagram is QLat2389. So that's where they can follow me at.
That's where they can see you watch highlights of you hitting homers at all these different places.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And hopefully adding that 1,000th RBI.
Yeah, that would be awesome if you got to do that, man. That's pretty cool accomplishment.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, definitely. Great to catch up with you, and thanks for being on. And we'll be watching.
Hey, man, I sure appreciate you having me, man. It was good talking to you and seeing you. I'm glad you're doing well, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. My thanks to Quincy Latimore. Great to reconnect with him. And I really hope you guys enjoyed his story. It's pretty crazy how long he's been playing. But if you want to watch him play this season or follow along in his journey, go hit up his social channels and on social media and follow along. But really happy to get that one. Total surprise that I got him, by the way. We reconnected recently. So very happy to talk to Q once again. As always, you can follow me at Too Tall Sports Podcast. That's on Instagram. Check me out on Twitter. It's at Too Tall Sports. And you know the drill. Check out my YouTube channel. Check out my Apple Podcast channel and Spotify. And yes, I will remind you again, if you haven't given a 5-star on either of those or both, do them both or one or the other, whichever one you prefer to listen to, hit the 5-star rating. That would really help us out. And I'm on Amazon Music, Google Play, Pandora, wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in Too Tall Sports Podcast. Thank you, as always, for listening, and I'll see you next week for another great episode. See ya.